It has been an extremely productive week. Hey friends, today is Thursday, February 2nd, 2023, and this is my weekly vlog where I keep you updated on all the projects that are in flight in my studio. So right off the bat, my mom is here for a week. She got in on Tuesday and she is leaving on Sunday. She's here for two reasons. First, it's my birthday this coming weekend, but secondly, tonight, Thursday, February 2nd, 2023, is Zoe's first band concert, and she's got both sets of her grandparents in for this concert, and I'm really, really excited about that. I'll share a clip with you next week on how all that went. As for my birthday celebrations, my mom usually comes in for my actual birthday and we do some fun things. I'm thinking on Saturday we might get the family together to go have some dinner, and I think that's a great excuse to go crab picking. I have made a lot of progress on a number of different projects. I'll tell you one thing, this weekly vlog for me is just really holding me accountable to getting stuff done. So let me run through all of those projects that I've worked on and let you know where we are. First up is the Beachy Braid Quilt. This is actually really looking nice. I love the fabric choices, but putting the columns together has been giving me a bit of a fit. And I think it's because all of those braids are actually bias edges on the side. So I've added a lot of fullness to the quilt. At least I think it's a lot of fullness. Maybe it's really not that bad. I have starched the heck out of the fabric to help prevent that, but I feel like the lesson that I learned from this is I should have starched the jelly roll strips before I started cutting and sewing everything together. That might have made this play a little bit nicer. I feel like the fullness that I'm seeing in the quilt only happens really when I'm hanging it up. When I lay it on a flat surface, I still see some of those bumps and waves, but it's not nearly as bad as I think it is. I think because I have the fullness in this quilt and because the quilt is a special gift for a special person, I might actually take the time to have Tucker quilt this as long as he's got bandwidth to do it. If you don't know who Tucker is, he's a wonderful young man. He has a YouTube channel right here and he's a friend of mine. He does awesome long arm quilting. This kid is super, super talented. If you want to check out some of his work, you can check out his YouTube channel, but he actually does commission jobs too. So if you're looking for some show quality quilting, or maybe you just want a long armer you can trust, check out his website. The quilt top's pretty much ready to go, but I do think I want to add some borders. My thought is to take that tan sashing that's going in between all the braids and just do a nice thick border around the outsides. I could do that, or I could do a thinner border and then a really nice dark teal border to play off of the beautiful colors that are in the braid. Let me know in the comments down below. Would you just do the tan border and be done, or a thinner tan border with a thicker dark teal border, or something else? The Scrappy Love Quilt, at least that's what I'm calling it, is all pieced and ready to go on the long arm, and that is what's hanging up behind me. If you missed my live stream this past Friday, I pulled out the January 2023 Ginger Quilter box, and I decided I was going to unbox it live and get to work. Once I saw the project that was in the box, I thought there is no reason I can't finish this quilt top before I go to bed, because it looked really simple. But it did not take just 2 hours to put together. I did as much as I could on my live stream and then immediately hopped over to Donna at Handmade by Ying and sat on her Zoom with her and a few other friends while we chatted with a few subscribers while I finished that quilt top. I did finish piecing it before I went to bed. It was 2:30 in the morning. I started at 8 p.m. and finished at 2:30 in the morning. So 6.5 hours to put that bad boy together. The Dwell wall hanging that we got from the Open Gate January 2023 box is now officially quilted. And I even have the binding tacked down to the front because my friend Mary is going to show me how to hand stitch the binding to the back. I really love the look of binding when you tack it down to the front and then flip it over and hand stitch it to the back. And of course, I made progress on some of my block of the months. The first one that I pulled out and started working on is actually Bliss block number 6. This is from the block of the month that started in April 2022 and will end in March 2023. And I am really behind on all of these blocks. My goal is to have the quilt top at least completely pieced before I start the next block of the month that'll come in the Sew Sampler boxes starting in April 2023. So I've got a bit of ways to go, but I'm making progress. And by the way, for each one of these blocks that I'm putting together, I am doing a separate dedicated video just for that block. I'll link to the Bliss block number 6 video in the description box down below. I also started a new block of the month program, and I'm really excited about this one because I'm doing this on Zoom with members from my VIP exclusive access membership on my website. I picked up the pattern Among the Stars again from Fat Quarter Shop, and I'll link to that in the description box down below if you want to get one of these patterns for yourself. And I've decided I am going to put my quilt together using my very loved and treasured Christmas morning Fat Quarter bundle, which ironically is one of the lines they feature in this pattern book. For month 1, we made 2 stars. I'm really pleased with how these are turning out. I will say the fabric that I pulled is the same fabric that the pattern is using, so my color placement should look exactly like the sample quilt in the book. I did notice though that some of the fabric that I pulled was directional. So I didn't stress about the direction of my fabric. I just used it. And I figured that the scrappiness of the prints going every which way is going to be subdued by the solid white that I'm using for the background. It's not too late for you to join the VIP. Grab your pattern and your materials if you want to do this on Zoom with us. And if you just want to join the Zoom sessions that we do once a month and work on something else, that's okay too. Again, all of the information for how to sign up for my VIP membership will be in the description box down below. The last block of the month that I worked on is the Jolly Bar Quilt Along, and I think we're on week number 3, and I made 2 blocks. These blocks were actually, I thought, really easy to sew, and it took no time to put them together. The tip that I have for you, though, is use a design board to help lay out your block before you sew it together. If you're anything like I am, sometimes it can be a little tricky to keep your fabric going in the right direction. And if I have the ability to lay the block out and step back and look at it, then I can make sure that everything is oriented correctly. And those design boards are nice because it holds all of your pieces just like a design wall would. You can pick it up, carry it around. And this week that came in really handy because I laid out one of my blocks. I got all the pieces made, laid out the block to be sewn together on my design board, and then I had to take a break for a couple of days. And so when I was ready to sew that block together, all I had to do was pick up my design board, bring it back to my machine, and just pick up where I left off. There was no thinking involved at all. Design boards are actually really, really easy to make, and Lori Holt has a tutorial on how to make them on her YouTube channel, but you can also buy them if you'd like to, and Fat Quarter Shop has them on their website. I'll link to both the product at Fat Quarter Shop in the description box below, as well as Lori Holt's tutorial video in case you want to try your hand at making your own design boards. Looking forward to the next week, there are a few goals that I have for myself. And the first one is I want to get that dwell wall hanging completely bound so I can hang it up. I am really excited to display this in my home, and I cannot wait to have it fully finished. The Beachy Braid Quilt, I want to get the borders on it and decide what I'm going to do to quilt it. Like I said, I think I'm going to reach out to Tucker and have him take care of this mess for me. So I at least want to get the borders on it, pick out a backing, and get it in his hands. So probably just wrap that up and put it in the mail. The Scrappy Love Quilt, which is the quilt that's hanging behind me, I am looking forward to loading on the long arm and fully quilting it. I will say a huge thank you to my friend Tiffany. She has been long arming for a few years. And when I was working on my dwell wall hanging quilt this past week, I was having some struggles with my ruler work. And so I called her on Messenger and told her some of the struggles that I was having. And she walked me through a couple of things that I needed to change to make that experience much more pleasurable. This coming weekend, we have plans on Sunday to have a video chat while this quilt is loaded on the long arm, and she's going to walk me through some quilting designs that I'm really excited to try. So hopefully when I talk to you next week, I'll be able to show you this thing at least fully quilted, if not bound. Yeah, what am I saying? It's just going to be quilted. I'm not going to bind it too. I also want to continue my progress on the Bliss block of the month because March is getting here sooner than I would care to admit, and February is a pretty packed month for me. So I want to get block 7 pieced and the video recorded and edited and out for you so that you can see how that block's coming together. And then lastly, I want to be able to round out next week with my Jolly Bar 4 quilt along. I want to continue the progress on that. I want to work on week number 4. Don't even know what those blocks look like right now, but so far I am really enjoying the blocks that Fat Quarter Shop has curated for us to make this sampler quilt, and I cannot wait to see this whole thing come together. That's my weekly vlog, friends. Thank you so much for tuning in and holding me accountable to getting stuff done in my studio. I'll see you guys all next week. Bye!
I love when you do that.
That's my weekly